Local programming on KRWG made possible in part by viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to a special Fronteras, a Changing America. I'm Edmundo Resendez. Today, in our monthly series, Dealing with Latinos and Mental Health, we take a look at mental health and family care. My guest is Iliana Perez, who is a home visitor for La Clinica de Familia, Early Headstart. Iliana, welcome to Fronteras.
Thank you for having me.
Why don't we start out the conversation by having you discuss a little bit about what the Early Headstart program is about and the reach that La Clinica de Familia has throughout southern New Mexico.
Well, first of all, I'm very glad and I feel very grateful for being part of La Clinica de Familia's Early Headstart program. And what we do is we are federally funded and we go into the home. We have a home-based program as well as a center-based program. And we work with children from 0, they age out at 3. And we work primarily with their families as well. So we have a very personable approach when working with families and care. We do 1.5-hour visits, we play, we engage families, and through our program we promote healthy living. So that's body, mind, and spirit. If you think, we want our families to be happy and have that strong foundation for their children's growth and well-being.
How does La Clinica de Familia go about to spread the word about the services that you offer as a way to reach out to these families that might be in need of your services?
Well, what we do a lot of recruitment, so you'll see a lot of home visitors hitting the streets and with our pamphlets, our flyers and information, but we also work with local organizations, particularly Amistad. For example, we try to promote with other agencies like Fronteras, and just to be able to establish a form of community, especially dealing with mental health or even housing. Sometimes we reach out to CYFD. So we do work with other organizations to, as a community, to help the family and to build a strong foundation for them.
As you go around, meeting different people and, that might have needs along the lines of mental health, how challenging is it for them to get to open their door to what you've got to offer to, have that trust factor?
Well, one of the things that's very and primarily important is that you enter the home. What we do, it's very personal sometimes because we don't want to leave the family feeling ashamed. First of all, there's a lot of stress going on, and sometimes in the home, and they might not have enough food, or they might not have enough clothes, or they're going to be evicted in a week. So you have all these stress factors, and sometimes they feel judged, sometimes they feel out of place. So what we do, we provide a source of empathy, first of all, and a place of comfort where they can trust us and, of course, in confidence, express what troubles that they're going through and how we can help them. For example, if there's an issue with mental health, a parent can confide in me, I'm feeling depressed. I can't stop crying. I don't know why. I feel like I'm losing it. I would go in and say, you know what, I'm so sorry you're feeling this way. And I want to help you, and I'm glad, and thank you for telling me this, because a lot of the times we restrict ourselves from openly admitting how we feel. There's almost a shame, like, okay, I'm feeling stressed because I don't have enough money to pay off my bills, and you know what, they're going to shut off the electricity, the gas. What do I do? Or the stigma of like, I can't keep it together. And so we come in and we provide that support where, okay, I could see that, you're having some trouble with your bills. Let me help you. I'm going to, get an application from the ISD office, and we're going to see if we can get an extension on your bill. Okay, and so we're going to get you assistance with that. You know what, I can see that you're feeling very depressed because you weren't able to afford a copay on your medication, and I noticed that you're feeling a little bit uneasy, and you're there's a lot of anxiety going on. What can I do to help you? And so at those points, we do come in and like, well, let me connect you to this resource, and let me help you. And if you need that fundamental support, we're there. We provide help with making that appointment. We provide help with going to the appointment with the client. So basically connecting them to community resources, and most importantly, not feeling ashamed to get that help.
In a lot of ways, I mean, I would imagine there's a lot of stress factors with some of these families that you're dealing with,
Yes.
because a lot of them are low income, and I would imagine some of them are also newly arrived immigrants who might not speak English and might not know where to go to get the proper help, or who to call in order to get help on delaying payment of a bill.
You know what, and it's true. A lot of the times they feel very reserved. They don't want to disclose very much information because they feel like, okay, well, I'm going to be turned in. I'm gonna, they're gonna take away my kids from me. Very extreme thoughts. So when we come in, I personally, as a home visitor, I reassure them like, okay, you know what, I want to help you. These are the resources in our community, for example, Las Colonias, that can help you get your GED, or let's make these steps, let's make these goals, just for your family and for yourself. So the main key above anything is to making that family feel comfortable, that they are able to trust us, and that they are able to grow as human beings and as a family.
How frequent or do you see situations where mental health is an issue in these families as a result of some of these stress factors, or as a result of the mental health being something that's genetic, that they might already have and may not be aware that they have a mental health problem?
Well, one of the things that I really do want to touch base on is the stress factors. We are living in a high-paced society right now, and it's hard for these families sometimes, especially if you have situations where you're going to school or you're working 2 jobs and you're still below the income level, and there's that stress of not spending enough time with the family, and also that causes a lot of anxiety, a lot of or it could be a situation where it's a single mother, she's on her own. How stressful is that, to feel like, okay, I'm alone? And so we come in and we provide that support, that, okay, no, you're not alone. Look, there's support groups, and if there is if there is a situation where there is a diagnosis, or an underlying factor of maybe a chemical imbalance, our health coordinator, David Dode, what we do is we go to him, and he connects and helps these families to services that will guide them, a therapist, or perhaps an organization that provides low-cost medications. And most importantly, do not, that feeling of not being ashamed to say, I believe I have a problem.
Is it difficult to get them to open up to having a problem? Because again, looking at the family dynamics and then the cultural stigma of the machismo of saying, not wanting to accept the help, or not wanting to admit that there's a problem. I mean, how often do you encounter these kind of situations?
You'll be surprised. I mean, overall, of course, it's hard to admit. I mean, in general, as human nature, to admit I'm wrong, I have a problem, or I need help, because we want things to be okay, and sometimes things are not okay. So what we do is we make them feel comfortable. We go into the home and we educate. We do a lot of things where it's family involvement. So, we try to present to the family that it's, mom is a key factor too, dad is a key factor, sisters, everybody who is living under the same roof has a primary role in this child's life. And And that's one thing that's really, really important to point out, is that getting that involvement. When you mentioned machismo, I do try to advocate in having fathers be more participating in the child's role. And David, our health coordinator, and another home visitor in our program, Gabriel, they have a program where the dads do activities with the kids outside in the community. Like, for example, they go to Lowe's, and it's father involvement. So that is a key factor. So that helps the family, and especially for the child to have their father in their lives.
I would imagine that really does, again, change the dynamic
it
of like
does.
seeking out the help and getting them involved in simple activities that takes them away from the issues they may be having to just trying to lead a normal life.
Exactly. And we do things like providing those fundamentals. For example, we do financial education. There are situations where families, I couldn't meet the bill, or I don't know where, this is what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to see if you qualify for other services, for example, ISD, helping you pay a bill. So what are our needs, our wants? Are we going to spend money on, and usually the fact is that there's minor spending on things like junk food, and we do health education and things like that. Like, instead of spending so much on, these juices, sodas or whatnot, why don't we save it and use what you get from, your EBT or your food stamps, and then we can use, get healthier things, for example, like juice, milk, and also then we can have this much saved and we put it into a savings. And then also providing resources in the community for education. So, because education is empowerment. And, here we have a referral for you. So there's an organization that you can get your GED, or at the branch, at the Doniana Community College branch.
How difficult is it to secure mental health for these children and these families that might not be familiar with the resources that are available to them? As you go and you meet with them, what are the steps? After you can report that there's a potential mental health problem, and you go back to David, who is the clinical coordinator. What's the step after you identify this, and is it difficult to find help for these families?
I really believe the challenges at times is when you talk about that stigma. No, I don't have a problem, or but we have to ourselves as home visitors get to that point where we're comfortable, where the family feels that they can trust us, that we're not here to judge. So what we do initially upon enrollment, we have screeners that describe levels of depression, and also in domestic violence situations, we have one. It's called WAST, and what we do is it assesses the relationship, and we provide that outlet to see, for them to disclose, hey, I have this problem. I'm really concerned. I wanted to speak to you privately about this relationship that I have with my husband. And so we, at that point, I contact David, and and also my other supervisors, Patricia Hippelfinger, and we all discuss as a team. This is a situation. We want this mom to feel safe and comfortable. What can we do? And so we provide services like with La Casa. We'll make a referral to La Casa, or give information and educate the family. For example, if it's a mom in a domestic violence situation, we provide help with getting her a plan to get out. Or, if it's a mother who is just had a newborn and has experienced postpartum depression, we give them information. How are you feeling? We give them like that assessment. How are you feeling? These are the signs of postpartum depression. I'm going to make this call to your doctor so you can have an appointment as soon as possible, because I'm concerned. and I want you to feel better, and I want your child to be okay, and because I care about you. So that's the main basis of our organization, is that we care. We care enough about the well-being of our families.
Like any treatments that are out there, whether you're trying to give up smoking or anything like that, you give it a try, and you might fall off the wagon, and and how do you go about in working with these families to get them to continue with the treatment plan, to whether it's for the parents, or whether it's the children, in medication and those kind of things, to make sure that they don't get off their medications and that they continue with the treatment plan that's been set forth for them?
What I personally believe in is building that foundation of a relationship with your with the client or with the family, because there's only so much that a home visitor can do, and primarily it is up to the individual receiving that treatment. If they go off not taking their medications, primarily it is their choice. But however, if I myself as a family, home visitor, I want to be able to make that that client feel comfortable. I want that family to feel comfortable. I want that family to have that hope that, okay, I can get better. I can basically maintain and take care of myself and my family, and have that confidence and that responsibility and sense of well-being. And so, and I think that's a very much important thing, by offering that education, like, don't get off your medication, because it's going to be a complete, it's a very big low if you just spontaneously stop. And if there is an issue that, my insurance isn't, or I'm not going to have enough to, for my prescription for the following week, I don't know what to do. Okay, well, let's see what we can do. We're going to devise a plan. Let's call your doctor. Let's call your care coordinator, and we'll make those steps for them, just monitoring their treatment and helping them, maintain it.
Does language play a barrier in these type of situations where, trying to, these families that might not speak English, and your caseworkers, the people that go out there, are they bilingual? Are they able to communicate with them?
Yes, we do have bilingual home visitors, and I myself, as a home visitor, have helped my clients who are Spanish dominant, that only speak Spanish, make appointments, and also make arrangements on their bills and things that that are every day for people who do speak English, that are just very daily, that they do have struggles with. So I go in, and we offer our education, our health education in both languages, in English and Spanish, and also our screeners in English and Spanish.
Let's go back to the issue of stigma, because that's, that is part of our title of this series. And I as I hear you talk about, talking to the parents and the stigma, the role that stigma plays in them accepting the fact that they might have a mental health problem, do you often, I would imagine that you work with them and looking at their family history to see whether mental health has played a role in their family before, and they're able to identify, maybe that's why my uncle was left out of parties, or was not able to do as many things, because he might have had a mental health problem. How accepting do they become after a while? I mean, is this multiple visits that it might take to get them to really understand that they have a problem?
It does. It does happen where, it just doesn't happen overnight. And sometimes, it just does take one visit. But usually what happens is that you have to build that relationship with that family, because somebody's not just going to go, a complete stranger comes into your home. You're not, and sometimes there's some individuals that do. They'll open up automatically, but there's some people that just don't. They put that wall up. And it's just a matter of bringing that wall down and to the point. And it could be a month. It could be, 2 months into the relationship of the, home visit. And then they'll they'll open up.
And again, to talk about it again, the medication factor, with them accepting that they might need or that they need medication in order for them to get better. Again, what are the challenges that come with that? Are they accepting? Does it take a while? Do they stay on the treatment?
What we do encourage is that they speak with their healthcare provider, that they speak with their therapist, and that they keep those appointments. And so what we do when we go in are like, are you keeping your appointments? How are you feeling? Having that form of consistency, because that consistency is very important. And most of the time they do. I'll be honest with you, because I think when we go into the home, they feel, oh, you know what, I have somebody who cares for me. I have somebody who's caring for my who cares for my family and how my family is doing. So yeah, I'm going to, my part in it is, yes, I am going to keep that appointment with my therapist. Yes, I am going to keep that appointment with our family therapist, so I can be a better father, I can be a better mother, and help my family.
What about alcohol and drugs? Do these play a factor in treatment, or when you first encounter some of these families that may be suffering from alcohol abuse, that again, they might not be aware of it, just through, again, the machismo, the stigma that this is what we do, and that's the way it is.
That's the way it is. In the cases of alcoholism, and we do have a protocol. If we're into the home and let's say there is, and as far as for the child safety and children that are there in the home, if the parents are incoherent, if there is an issue with drugs, and if there's drugs presented in the home, my responsibility as a home visitor, I have to report it to CYFD. And it's one of the things that it is signed upon enrollment, is that we're reporters for that.
What are some of the mental health issues that you see in some of these families, whether it's bipolar disorder or just depression, that are pretty frequent, that you may encounter in some of these visits?
When we do our screeners, we do have one particular screener that monitors depression. And so usually that, in some cases that is an issue where it is just depression. And in the cases of bipolar disorder, we do work with other agencies and organizations that help the family with therapy and, medication modification.
What changes, and you've been there for a short time, but what changes have you seen in child development of patients that you treat?
Well, as a home visitor and as an educator, the resources, and as a family service coordinator, I had been a family service coordinator for an agency here in Cruces. There is quite a bit of changes. Within the 10 years, we have more resources for early childhood development. And I think we're in a very good place right now as far as advocacy for children and providing a safe environment, because, and for families too as well. We have organizations like Amistad, La Frontera, early Headstart, early intervention agencies. So we have a very wide variety of resources in our community to help aid families that for mental health, for disabilities, and for an overall well development.
Having said that, what's your crystal ball tell you, of what's happening in the future for La Clinica de Familia as it relates to helping families with mental health issues?
I'm very positive upon this. We are an organization that I'm fortunate to be a part of, because one of the key factors in our organization is that we do care. We really care about our job. We love our job. We love working with people. We love helping people. And so with that, if we continue that attitude, that viewpoint, we'll go far. Yeah.
What kind of partnerships are you looking for? You've got great partnerships with La Frontera and other organizations. Are you looking to bring in any additional partnerships that you might be needing help with?
Well, partnerships, when you say partnerships, we work, we do referrals. We work with, you know, if we do a referral, it's an organization that provides that specific help for that family. If that family is needing help with therapy and medication, La Frontera, and they are a very good organization. They have a suicide hotline and a suicide emergency unit that goes immediately and to the home, one-on-one, and they actually have a therapist that go and does an assessment with the family. And so I'm very impressed with that organization, and Amistad, working with families as well. So, you know, pretty much we're open. We're very open with helping the family with their specific need.
And your website is lcdfnm.org?
Yes, and if you go on Google, just you know, when you query La Clinica de Familia, there is early Headstart. You can click on that, and it gives you the steps on how to enroll in our program as well.
Okay, well, Iliana Perez, I'd like to thank you again for being part of our show here on our special Fronteras, A Changing America, on dealing with Latinos and mental health from stigma to treatment. Thank you very much for coming in. Again, the website is lcdfnm.org if you'd like to learn more about the services that La Clinica de Familia provides and the early Head Start program that you are involved in. Iliana, thank you very much for being here.
I appreciate it.
And thank you for joining us today on Frontera, A Changing America. I'm Edmundo Resendez. I'd like to thank Monica Mojica for providing some much needed support for this program. And thank you until next time.